Again, hello everyone. Um, nice to see you all. Let's get this thing going. Someone has added something to the agenda, just to kind of announcements. Let's see. Was that you, Lindsay?
Yeah, just a quick note that there's the SEG career panel happening in half an hour. So I might drop off for that. And if anyone else is interested, it's a good lineup of people. I'll see if I can dig up the ad and I'll drop the link in the chat here. But it's mostly the gravity, I think electromagnetics and magnetics section or folks sort of in those spaces. So it should be interesting.
Cool. Okay, well then, I'm going to get on to some quick reports. I don't really have anything else for the agenda to go over today. I kind of posted it a little bit in Discretize, but on like the Discretize channel on Slack. But I took a first stab. I had a bit of free time over the weekend, and I was bored. I was like, okay, I want to see if I can do it. So I took a first stab implementing like simplex-based meshes, so tetrahedrals, triangular meshes in Discretize, and it actually came together a lot faster than I thought it would. So I was already doing like PDE solutions with it. Should slip right into most of the SimPEG structured like SimPEG simulations, which will be nice. Motivation is just to be able to support triangular meshes in general, like they're a little bit more conforming to topography things, enable more like stricter comparisons with the other tetrahedral based libraries like PyGimli and stuff. Like that'll be nice. Yeah, it came together quicker than I thought it would, which was pleasant. Like it just kind of like started working. I was able to reuse a lot of the same kind of thinking about how the face and edge interproduct matrices work for the curvilinear meshes. To be able to do that on the tetrahedral meshes, it's basically the same idea. That also led me to realize that we need to update a little bit those two like face interproduct, edge interproduct matrices and Discretize for the curvilinear meshes, and that right now we are supporting returning like an inverse matrix for them, but we shouldn't, because like they're not diagonal matrices, so we can't, like the way that thing returns an inverse matrix, it's not right. Like it just returns the inverse of the diagonal. So that means like curvilinear meshes shouldn't be used in certain formulations that we have on SimPEG. So like they shouldn't be used in like a cell-centered discretization. For DC, they shouldn't be used in the face discrete variables on like EM. Anywhere where you have to take an inverse in of that inner product matrix. If you're looking through the code, you'll see it. It's like basically just can't, it shouldn't be supported. So I'm gonna have to look at right now it was, but it's basically doing it and it's doing it incorrectly. So we should probably, I'm just gonna add a warning, or not even a warning, I'm gonna throw an error there in SimPEG or in Discretize being like, oh, this isn't supported. So nothing we can do. Is like it's just a fact of that mesh is that we can't, like it shouldn't work for those types, and there's not a really good way to get it to work for them as well. So I think it's acceptable just to not support it. That's all that I've got for the weekend, like Discretize related stuff. It looked, I don't know, I was happy with the tetrahedral meshes. I should be able to get them in pretty quickly. The only thing on it that I don't have implemented just yet is like the interpolation matrix, like that arbiter interpolation matrix. Everything else kind of comes together. That's the biggest need. Okay, Lindsay, what do you got?
Sure. Thanks, Joe. I'm really excited that tetrahedral meshes are coming together that quickly. It'll be fun to have. Yeah, just a quick note. I've been working on getting the line current source up and running for the HJ formulation. So when current goes through phases. So I'm doing that right now in the time domain. And I'll take a look at the frequency domain implementation. It should be straightforward to also bring it in over there. And then with that too, I've been working on parsing some old plotting code that I wrote in sort of my own personal utility library for fields objects. So I'm working on trying to like parse that and clean it up. And so at some point, I'm hoping to generate a pull request that'll have some more utilities for plotting electromagnetic fields. I'd sort of given an object, be able to say I would like to see the currents or the charges or things like that, and have kind of reasonable default color bars and default choices for plotting if it should be log scale or not, and that sort of thing. So that's a little further out, but something on the radar.
Yeah, I could take part in that. I mean, if you kind of had the plotting scripts and kind of sent them my way, I would be willing to go and put those into utility type stuff, because I think I'm already organizing a lot of that.
Well, that'd be awesome, Dev. I'm doing a pass right now, so I first need to. I'll get them into a digestible form, and then we can touch base on that. I appreciate that. That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be super useful to be able to plot that stuff easily.
Yeah.
Try to, if you can, Lindsay, try to make it ambivalent of like face X, face Y, those type of things, if possible. It's just a request.
Yeah, I will try to. It's a fair bit of logic, so it's going to take some thought to like parse that out appropriately. But so far, I've at least got it ambivalent to if it's static, so if it's DC, frequency domain, or time domain, that can all work. But right now, it all assumes the HJ, I think. So we'll work on generalizing that.
Sounds good. Devin, what have you been up to? It's been a while.
What have I been up to? Well, I guess one thing while Lindsay's still here is I guess I've picked up where Liz left off on the curve note project, and I wanted to take one of the notebooks, the underlying code, and take that, put it into GeoSci Labs. So I just get to call the app in a really clean fashion. So I made a PR for that, and I noticed that GeoSci Labs had not been updated to call images and data files from main instead of master. So I made those two fixes, the underlying codes put in there, and then basically updated so that none of the other notebooks break. There's a PR that's passing that I provided a link to in the docs for this meeting. So if anyone wants to take a look at that and bring it in, it's really short. That would be really great. Oh, what else? Yeah, I brought in your changes, Joe, for the discretized docs. That's great. And I went through and tried to find any little spots where some of the details were missed. You had kind of a itemized list of things we wanted to make for the documentation. So I looked through that. It looks really good. And I also played around with using the collapse, this it's Sphinx toolbox. So if you've got really long plotting scripts, as somebody pointed out, I think last week, or really long pieces of code that really don't help you learning that function, they're collapsed, but you could expand them if you want to. So I like it for the most part. It looks really good, but that toolbox, I think it's compatible with Sphinx 3.6.5 and not the latest version of Sphinx. And I wasn't able to get that toolbox from like installed through Conda. I had to use pip. So I guess I don't like the idea of mixing both of those. I would like to have something that was really stable, and maybe there's a way to get this one feature without having to download the whole toolbox. So I'm not sure if people have thoughts on that or any preferences. I was able to build the website, but yeah, it would be nice if it was stable long-term. So that's
I think Just about the Sphinx, I think I have a couple of Sphinx extension that I have to install through pip simply because they're not of Conda. So I never run into an issue if just an extension is installed through pip.
Okay.
But then say never. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty easy to remove if it does prove to be a problem. And I did find some stuff where people had just written their own little extensions to just do that collapse. Yeah, and then also just looking through and I think updating the dev requirements. There's a couple things that were missing. So yeah, I don't know if what you want to do as a final review, Joe, but I think we're pretty close to being there.
Yeah.
Maybe temporarily exercising the tutorials so that we can make what we have now live and then do a separate PR for those tutorials. That would be my suggestion.
Yep, that's the plan. Yeah, I was just kind of I think it's as far as like which ones to collapse, I feel like it should only be the ones that feel like they're overly long. You know what I mean? Like the ones that like, okay, well, medium to short length ones, it'll probably be okay. But like the ones that just like look like they're overly long to like digest, like that should be the ones that like, oh, we just collapse these.
Yeah, I mean, check it out. I didn't go crazy with it, but yeah, I mean, there was some things with highly customized plotting that was taking up, you know, a whole page. That stuff was collapsed, but the rest of it was left.
And it collapses fine, like it still shows the image afterwards and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely went through a lot of the formatting stuff for the documentation, like just kind of trying to clean it up myself. I think it's going to look good. We'll get it merged and then probably finalize that logo and then tag it and it'll get released.
Yeah, I guess there's that other thing about the class inheritance image on where that was. It would be nice to have some kind of heading on it. Is it auto-generated or are you calling those pictures from something?
It's auto-generated, and like I mentioned, it's in the template files. So we can just add a little bit of text there, just like, oh, inheritance diagram for something. But generally, they are at like the top of the classes. Like when you're looking at classes, like that's generally where the inheritance diagrams are, like usually at the top of it and then goes down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's fine. But yeah, that's it for me.
Shalom, how have you been?
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, it's been a while. I missed a couple of the weekly meetings. Yeah, here are a few quick updates. So yeah, firstly, I removed the normalization and the multiply of the cell volumes as John suggested in the PR. And another thing is my paper got published that is analyzing the uncertainties using the mixed LP norm inversions. Yeah, Tom is one of the reviews and proposed a few meaningful suggestions. Yeah, and I also uploaded the code used in the code and the data used in this manuscript to the SimPEG research community. Yeah, that's all from me today.
Yeah, thanks, Shalom. Exciting. Dieter.
Yes, I just put in, I think we had it once or twice discussed about it. So with Kerry, I put together this filter library, which, for instance, EMPyMod, I think my code base will be about 40% of the lines of code if I remove all the filters. So we kind of took that out. We have by now a Julia package and a Python package, and hopefully there will come a Fortran and a C package and whatever else, because the filters are just pure text files. And then you can, it was quite interesting to see how do you deploy from the same repo, deploy different packages to different languages. but it's all possible. So this might be interesting for the SimPEG 1D stuff. I'm not sure in the long run. It just, well, the ones that are already hard-coded, you don't gain anything. But if there is a new filter coming, you don't, a good filter someone develops, it just has to go to this library and it wouldn't need any change in the code. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, I just thought I mentioned it. Nothing exciting, just long tables of values.
Interesting.
And other than that, I think because Soka is not here, I started to pick up work, or he started to pick up work again, I think partly because of this IAGA, is that correct, Lindsay? IAGA poster he does on the large scale EM inversion. So we have a plan. Let's see how fast it will materialize, but there should be a plan for the large scale EM inversions.
Exciting. Cool.
And before I forget, because it's still silent, the book by Florian Wagner. I think that's along your line, right, Thibaut? Things like you do.
Yeah,
so
no, thanks for
I'm still
sharing.
waiting for your thorough review.
Yeah, I'm like it's on my reading list for this week for sure. It's gonna be interesting too. I just like briefly look at it and we discussed it. It with Lindsay, and it's really fun. Like it's really funny that we really have like a lot of different references too. Like it's very like maybe Europe centered and it's like so it's gonna be interesting also. Like I like some of them I know, but maybe I will discover also some new work as well. But maybe there is like maybe there is a gap to bridge here between like the effort in environment and the one in mining.
Maybe. I have no idea, but it's interesting. It's also to see then the different things what you've done, what they describe, and see where they agree and where maybe one can learn from the other. So
exactly.
Cool.
So what's the book? What's the name of the book?
I posted it in. Is it in general? Who is in Slack right now?
Or in the general in the Slack?
I think so. In the SimPEG, it's Florian. He posted it on Swang, but I think I shared it here.
Yeah,
it's about multi-method inversions. I'm not even sure which one they use. I guess DC, resistivity, along those lines. I haven't looked closer at it either. No.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah, I just reposted your link, Dieter, in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, it's first for me to know. Even somebody want to publish a book, we still need a reviewer. Is that right?
I think it depends how you publish. You can publish your own book, then you don't need a reviewer. On Amazon, you can now be your own publisher. But I assume those more scientific journals. Lindsay will know, probably.
For publishing a book? It really depends where you go through, but if you go through any society, they usually have somebody review it. It's usually like a bit of a different review. I mean, it's a different review process, is because you usually end up, if you're going to go through a society, you usually like pitch the book to them. And it sort of goes through a like before you actually start writing, it's kind of approved. And then the review process is much more to like improve it. It's not gonna, you're not gonna have it rejected when it's already been sort of pre-approved.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thanks for clarification.
Everybody is happy if you finish it, Shalom. So there won't be big blocks in the roadway while you get it finished and decently neat and clear and consistent. Then it's a lot of work.
One other thing I'll maybe just put on folks' radars is with the SimPEG seminars, if there's any other communities or people you think we should reach out to, is that, like, yes, it's sort of SimPEG, but I think it would be great if it's also SimPEG++ and sort of reaching out and making connections with the broader ecosystem. So I've reached out actually to Santiago, who's in the Fadiendo community, because there's so much sort of like commonality between the problems that we're solving, and there's such complementary packages. It would be great if we have, if we can use this as a bit of a bridge. So if there's other people you have in mind that you would like to see come give a talk and maybe try and strengthen connections between SimPEG and elsewhere, keep that in mind, and we can reach out and and try and use this as a bit of a way to build bridges as well.
Did you post it on Software Underground, maybe like the Slack channel?
Oh, yes, I've posted, and I'll post when we announce Xiaolong's again in the general, once that's ready to go, and and get folks connected there too. So yeah, but that's a great point too, Will.
Yeah, and Fatiendo, they also have like a Slack channel that maybe we can ask them if we should advertise there on the Slack as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Sounds good. Okay, is Tom, I know you came in late. You got anything?
No, not much. Working on DC now, reviewing kind of the examples, and I submitted the abstract for SEG. We're gonna do a GeoApps workshop, which obviously all SimPEG stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if there's anything else, floor is open for anyone, really. Otherwise I've got nothing else for anyone. I'll put up the recording again right away this week. I got all the other recordings up. I finally put them all up. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
I guess we'll see everyone next week then.
Yeah, or just at the GEM panel starting in like 4 minutes.
Yep. Another reason.
But it just perfect timing.
Yep. Another reason to end it.
Excellent.
Bye bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, everyone, thanks.